Hello everyone, in today's video we are taking a look at the brand new version 3 of Payload CMS. It was released just a month ago and I've had enough time to play around with it and say that I'm very excited about it. I spent some time with the version 2 before this and I had a few issues, namely developer experience with image optimization in the Next.js app on some hosted platforms, but it seems like these have been solved in version 3 and I haven't seen any issues so far whatsoever. So in this video, I'll be talking a little bit about what to expect from Payload so you can make a decision whether it is right for you or not. And then after that, I'll be doing an on-screen tutorial how you can launch your very own Payload CMS hosted on Railway. It is pre-configured as a website builder. So something a little bit comparable to a Ghost blog or a Squarespace website or Wix.com, but you need to know with Payload that it is completely customizable. So should you have other needs, you can build that on top of it. By the end of the video, I'll be cloning the project and installing it on our local machine and making a very simple customization just so you get an idea about how customizations work. And we'll be deploying that change to see that it becomes live on our hosted version on Railway. In a future video, I'll be implementing a more complicated customization, and that will be a comment system. So by the end of our pages and posts, there will be a form where your visitors can leave a comment. And these comments will not be shown until an administrator have approved it. And that is just to prevent bots from spamming on your blog. So very simple comment system, but that will be for another video. So what can you expect from Payload? Well, it's a CMS, and if we compare it to some of the other CMSs, I like to compare it to WordPress and say that WordPress is like Windows 2000. It is old and outdated, but it is quite powerful. You can do a lot of things, but you can also very easily break a lot of things. Something like Ghost blog, which I also use, is more like Mac OS. It can do a lot of things. The user experience is extremely intuitive and things just works and it looks really nice. But as soon as you need something that it doesn't do already, it becomes a hassle to do it. Customization and freedom is not in focus here. And this is really where Payload shines, because Payload is like a Linux system. It is completely customizable and unrestricted. You can build whatever you want into it, though it is a little bit more technical than at least Ghost is. Like WordPress is also very complicated and it is written in a programming language that have seen better days. But Payload, on the other hand, is modern technologies and it is very customizable. So that's that. If we take a look here at the cloud page, you can see that it is entirely for free. So the two other CMSs I just mentioned are also open source and free if you host them yourself, and that is the same for Payload. If you host it yourself, which we are going to be doing in this video, it is for free. They do also offer a cloud hosting, so $35 per month, not too bad. And then you get a database, some storage, even one custom domain setup. And this is exactly the same for Ghost. They offer about, I think it's $39. Then you also get everything. But with what we are going to be doing today, we are self-hosting it, so that will be entirely for free. Let's get right started with the tutorial. So I have made a blog post here over on my blog. And if we scroll down a little bit, first we can see here what the CMS will be pre-configured with today. So it will have pages and posts and some forms and users. And later we'll do the comment system. But this list is not finite. You can add whatever you want to it later, but this is what we'll start out with today. Your dashboard will look like this, but let's just skip ahead because you'll see it live in just a second. I also made a little table here where I compare it to Squarespace, WordPress, and Ghost, and you can see the only two that I know how to self-host is Ghost and Payload, and then the hosting cost is very little. I was able to use only around $7 for a full month of hosting with Payload in this configuration, and compared to the cloud version, you can see that it is quite a bit cheaper. And here we also see the Ghost blog is $36 for the hosted version, and the self-hosted also much cheaper. All right, if we scroll down and we find the purple button, this is all we need. when we click this button, we'll be taken to the pre-configured deploy template. So we are now over at Railway, and I'm logged into my user already. You need a user in order to deploy the template. I'll click deploy. And if you're not logged in, you'll see a little message here saying that you need to log in. And it is important that you choose to sign up with GitHub if you're not already signed up, because your Railway account needs to be connected with your GitHub account. So if you also don't have a GitHub account, you need to create a GitHub account first, then sign up with GitHub. This is important because we need to make customizations to our hosted version. And in order to do that, you need a clone in your own GitHub, and Railway will manage all of that for you. It is extremely simple. You just need to have your account connected. So I'm logged into my user. It is connected to my GitHub. So I'm ready to click deploy now. All right. So this didn't take long, about 4 minutes, and both of our services are now live. So this is the database, and if we click over here, this is the CMS itself. Now, maybe I should mention that if you did not get green check marks and still it says no deploys and you have a yellow banner on your user, that's because you have been limited by Railway. This can happen to some users, and it is to prevent bots from signing up free users and launching services to use for bot farms. So if you have a yellow banner, unfortunately, you're going to have to be upgrading to the hobby plan. It is $5 per month. But if you have a green banner and you're a trial user or you're already a hobby user and you have 2 green check marks, you are ready to proceed. We have our public URL right here, and I haven't set up a custom domain just yet. So this domain here is not very user friendly, but it's fine for now. I'll click it and we should be taken to our admin dashboard, or this is like a welcome page because we don't have an admin user yet, but on screen instructions will take you through everything you need to do. So visit the admin dashboard. I'll just click this, and then we will be allowed to sign up our admin user. I'll be creating John Doe as today's admin. I'll hit create. And now you get a little welcome screen here. And you see that we already have some things pre-configured, and this is what you also saw on the screenshot over from my blog post. So we have some pages, posts, media, and if we click into one of these posts here, you can see it is empty. There is nothing yet, but I've made it easy for you. So to get started and get a little bit of data in your website, you can click this seed your database, and then it will populate our CMS with some dummy posts that I have made. So if we now click into post, you'll see that we have 4 different blog posts now. And if we go back again here, there is a little link to visit your website. So if we click this here, we can see what these posts look like on the landing page that your visitors will be using. So if we scroll down a little bit here, some of these are just screenshots that I took from the Payload website themselves because I think they look super awesome. And then I have a few blog posts here for you, and these are just for you to use as templates for creating your own blog post. Obviously, these are from my own blog that I have just copied. So I have just replicated these blog posts right here into the seed data here. So you have a little bit to look at here. Let's take a look at one of them. This is about Venture. This is an open source e-commerce project. Here's also some instructions about how you can get started with Venture if you're into that, and some media. And this is, I just reused the same image just to speed things up a little bit here. Let's go back to the admin dashboard and let's try to look at the CMS itself. So we go into posts and I click on Venture, and you can see here there is just a very populated user interface. There's a lot of things, but if you just digest it for a second, it is pretty intuitive. So in the editor itself, it is a kind of what you see is what you get editor. You can see the media blocks are right here, and if you want to change them, you can click the edit icon or the delete icon. And if we go to the bottom here, just similar to how ghosts work, if you hit a new line, you'll get a new block. And if you click the little plus icon here, you can add in the different things that currently exist. You can also add, to get the menu, you can also just hit the slash button here, then it will pop up. And we don't have too many things here now. We have some headlines, so text formatting, and then we have a media block, code, and banner. but these things can be extended just by configuring the CMS. Let's scroll up a little bit again, and then you see here we have 3 tabs. So there is one for meta, and here you can relate other posts. So these are the ones that will appear in the end of your article related posts. And then we also have this tab right here, SEO. And this is to help you with search engines optimization. So when you are writing your content, you'll get these little guides here. So this one says, yeah, my headline is good because it is within the character limit. And then I have here, this is not good. So the description I use in this blog post is not very good, and it would score bad on search engine optimization. So while you create your content, you have all these guidings as well. Once you're happy with your changes, you can hit the publish change, and then you see here versions. There is a versioning system. So if you make changes that you're unhappy with, you can always go backwards and revert these changes. There's also a preview button. So this one will open up the preview before it is live. So you can see exactly what it looked like. All right, this is the tour of the CMS itself. And now let's continue to the customization part. So in order to customize all of this, we're going to be deploying code changes. And in order to deploy code changes, we need the project to run locally first. So let's head back over to Railway. And if we are selected the payload CMS and we go to the settings tab, we can see here that the source repo is pointing to the boilerplate repo, which is my repository, and you need your own clone, and it is easy to do. You just hit the eject button here, and then you should see your GitHub username here. But if you don't see that here, that happens sometimes, and you need to click on account settings, scroll down to the GitHub section, and then you click edit scope and reauthorize the Railway app with your GitHub account. But I already see my user, so I can simply click eject, select my user, and click eject service. And we got a service ejected. So now this one is my personal repository. So I click on this one. Let's clone the project to our local machine. So I will find the Git URL, copy it to clipboard, and then I'll open a Git terminal. Git clone, paste in the URL, hit enter, and it is cloning. Now you can use whatever code editor you want to use, but I'm using VS Code. I have that installed, so I can open it by writing code space dot and hit enter. And here's our workspace. So I'll just expand the payload 3 boilerplate, close this one, and I will open up a new terminal. To open up a new terminal, you can click right here. And let's just take a look at the README here. So I click on the README and I go into view mode, and then we scroll down to the local setup instructions. So what do we need to do? We need to copy the env example and rename it to .env. So let's do that first here. I will create a copy. I'll rename it and like this. And then we need a database connection string, and you can either paste in the one from Railway. So if I just open up Railway here, you hit your variables. You can see here database URI. You can copy this one to clipboard and paste it in right here. Then you'll be connecting to the production database. So that's one way to go about it. But I want to use a local database. So I have here my PG admin, and I have already a database called payload from yesterday. I'll delete this and I'll create it again. So I have a fresh one. Create new database, and I'll call it payload. Hit save. And we now have a clean database called payload. So I can minimize my PG admin, and then I can simply just add payload here. Now we have set up the environment. We don't really need to worry about the Java Web Token secret because we're just running locally. And the public URL is localhost 3000. That is all good. So we can close this one and this one. And the next thing is to install dependencies, and I use pnpm. So I'll cd into the payload folder, and I will pnpm install. All right, it looks like the dependencies were installed, and the last step is really to run it in development mode. So I will hit pnpm dev, and it's gonna take a little while to compile all the code the first time, but we do have caching enabled, so after the first time it's compiled, it will be faster. I'll just pause and come back as soon as it's ready. All right, it took a while, but it is now compiled. So on localhost 3000, we now have our local version. Obviously, it is on localhost 3000. So I need to create an admin user again. All right, I created the admin user, and we are now exactly where we left in our online version. So in order to do any customizations, we should be able to see those live here in the localhost. And the thing I want to do is I want to remove this whole thing, because welcome to your dashboard and instructions on how to seed the database, this is not something that you need in general. This is like a welcome getting started guide. So let's try to remove this one. I'll go back to VS Code. Actually, let me just select some text here. This is one of my preferred way to find stuff. So I'll just copy some text to clipboard from this component, and then I will go into global search and I'll search for this text, and then you'll usually find that component. So if you don't know your way around the file system and everything, this is one way that you can find it. So we found a component here, and it is inside before dashboard. And that sounds about right to me, because this here is before the dashboard. This here is the dashboard, and this here is the before dashboard. So I think we found our component that we want to delete. So before dashboard, so let's search for that. And we will see that it is used in the payload configuration. So this is a good indication to where we might disable it. And you see here admin and then components, and there is some before login and before dashboard. So I think we have found it. So I'll just select this text and delete it, and I will hit save. And because we're in development mode, there is like a hot reload going on. So you see it compiled. If I tap back over to the web page, it should automatically update. And it's a little bit slow on my machine because I'm running screen recording, but this is usually something that happens really snappy. But as you see, it did indeed remove the welcome block. So we are now at a much more sleek UI without the welcome screen that we don't need anymore. All right, to end this video within a reasonable time frame, I'm gonna stop the customization right here and just deploy our very simple change. And remember, in the next video, we'll be making a more complicated customization, building an actual UI element. So I'll just write git status to see where we have changes. And we see that there is changes to the config and then to the type and the import map. And these are files that are being maintained. The import map is now excluding all the HTML, the JSX, TSX, all the TSX files for the component we have here. So it is now no longer included in the bundle. See the before login, but we don't see the before dashboard anymore. It is not here. And that is good. So we can deploy these changes. I'll write git add everything, git commit dash m, and I'll give a message remove welcome guide, git push. And as soon as we see our code is pushed, we can go back over to our browser and let's go to our Git repository, hit the refresh button and see that our change was pushed. I see a commit from just now. And I can also see here under the deployments that something is going on. So let's head back over to our Railway dashboard and we can indeed see that our payload app has started rebuilding. So if I go into deployments, removed welcome guide. So the simple changes we just made has been picked up by Railway and is now being deployed. I'll just pause and unpause as soon as we're ready to confirm that it is live in production. All right, it didn't take long, about 2 minutes, and I now have a green check mark here. This one says it's still performing health check, but I think we are ready. So let's open up the application again. And we need to navigate over to the admin dashboard, that is /admin. And we see now our live hosted version do not have the welcome guide anymore. Now from here, feel free to go ahead and delete all my demo posts. You can delete all these posts just by selecting them and click delete, and then you can start writing your own posts. Anyway, I will conclude this video here. I hope this helped you getting started with the new version Payload 3. And in the next video, we will be implementing a comment system so people can leave comments on our posts and our pages. All right, I'll end it here. That is all for now. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.